Hi there, boys and girls. It's time for the Tutti Fruity Case by Harry Allard. You know what these are? That's right, ice cream cones. Do you like ice cream cones? What's your favorite flavor? I like those. There we go. The Tutti Fruity Case. And it says starring the 4 doctors of Googe. Flop. It all began in the back of a crowded bus when a swan dropped her tutti frutti ice cream cone and began to cry. It was the 4th cone she had dropped that day. No, it was just too provoking. Glurp. At that very moment in another city, someone was crying her eyes out on a park bench. Boo-hoo! A spilled hot fudge sundae lay at her feet. It was the 8th spilled hot fudge sundae of the day. She cried and cried. At the same time, in an amusement park, a raccoon was dabbing his little eyes with a tissue. His orange popsicle had simply melted away before his very eyes, before he even had a chance to take a single bite of it. It was a very sad sight. Whatever could be the matter? Sundaes, sodas, milkshakes, ice cream cones, and popsicles were melting and tumbling over right and left everywhere. And everyone, everywhere, was crying his eyes out too. Everyone, that is, except 2 strange people who lived in a dark, spooky old house that smelled of spoiled cabbage leaves and rotten eggs. They weren't crying. Far from it. In fact, they were laughing. Ginger, hissed a very mean-sounding voice. Push the button down that makes it melt. Roger Woodrow, rasped the second very mean-sounding voice, and they both shrieked with hair-raising laughter. The countrywide panic caused by the ice cream problem finally reached the White House itself. Mr. President's very favorite dessert, baked Alaska, had melted right on his plate at a dinner of state. This is a case for the 4 doctors of Googe, barked the president. He took the telephone from its hiding place under the yo-yo box and dialed a secret number, GO 00004. And his sign says the big cheese. That's what he was called, the big cheese. Gaylord, Gaston, Garfield, and Skipper Googe left for Washington, D.C. the very next day in their private train. A crying president and a weeping crowd met them at the station. As the 4 doctors of Googe were being driven to their hotel, they saw nothing but sad, tear-stained faces lining the streets and boulevards of the capital. That says Union Station. That's where they got off. This can only be the work of one man, Skipper Googe said, scratching his chin. Yes, 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 his brothers Gaston, Gaylord, and Garfield Googe agreed. Gaston, Gaylord, Garfield, and Skipper Googe put on their thinking caps. We must find a way to tempt him away from his hideout to find out what he's up to, Gaston said. But how? Gaylord asked. With food, Skipper Googe replied. At the suggestion of the 4 doctors of Googe, the president threw a party. The menu was unusual. The 4 doctors of Googe knew who would come. It says, you are invited to the White House for dinner. Here is the menu. Spoiled cabbage leaves, rotten eggs, prunes, old potato peelings, and for dessert, milk of magnesia shake. Please come at 8. Signed, the president. At 8 o'clock sharp, a sleek, shiny limousine driven by a large gray rat drove up to the front door of the White House. A strange-looking pair got out. Their mouths were watering. It was easy to see that they were in disguise. As a spooky couple in funny clothes had seconds, thirds, and even fourths of the tasty garbage, the 4 doctors of Googe were busy tracking down their hideout. Their Geiger counter, which they had tuned in to pick up the scent of spoiled cabbage and rotten leaves, had led them to... Oh, look where it's leading them. Led them to a strange house. Suddenly, the Geiger counter began ticking wildly. We're here, Skipper Googe whispered to his brothers. Shh. Ever so softly, the 4 doctors of Googe sneaked into the dark, cold house that reeked of spoiled cabbage leaves and rotten eggs. They tiptoed through room after room. In a room, all by itself, they found an amazing machine. It had flashing lights, had buttons and levers. It made funny gurgling sounds. Aha! Skipper Googe whispered. Just what I expected all along. Woodrow Weasel had invented an ice cream destroying machine. The 4 doctors of Googe set to work rewiring the crazy-looking contraption so that it would work backwards. Gaston pulled and Gaylord pushed, Garfield hammered, and Skipper fiddled with the dials. Then they left as quietly as they had entered. It wasn't until early the next morning that the sleek, shiny limousine returned to the dark, cold house. Throwing off his disguise, Woodrow Weasel hissed to his faithful companion, Ginger Jackal. What a tasty dinner, Ginger. After throwing off her wig, Ginger rasped in agreement. But now, giggled Woodrow Weasel, to work, Ginger. The fiend rubbed his furry paws together in delight. Roger, Woodrow, Ginger Jackal screamed. They hurried off to the laboratory where they kept Woodrow Weasel's greatest invention, the ice cream destroying machine. Woodrow was so proud of it, he directed the laser beam. Ginger pushed the buttons down, but oh, how surprised they both were. The machine was not destroying ice cream, it was making ice cream. Ginger and Woodrow gaped at the radar screen, thunderstruck. We're not making people unhappy, Ginger. We're making everyone happy. Woodrow Weasel gnashed his false teeth together so hard they fell out. Clunk! and Ginger's wig fell off. Plop! The two meanies broke down and cried. It was the saddest day of their lives. Worse still, their year's supply of spoiled cabbage leaves and rotten eggs changed into gallons and gallons of vanilla ice cream with little cinnamon hearts. Here, look at everybody feeling so happy. They're having their ice cream and popsicles. But it was a great day for the rest of the country. Everyone was smiling. Everyone was happy. The president was smiling too. The whole country was grateful to the 4 doctors of Googe. To honor them, the president had a wonderful new treat named for them 10 flavors of ice cream, topped with whipped cream, smothered in hot fudge, generously sprinkled with chopped walnuts, and crowned with 4 bright red cherries. To this day, it is known, wonder what it's known as. Are you ready? To this day, it is known as the Googe Delight. I hope you like this book. It's great. Have a great day or a great night. See you again. Bye.